According to Planned Parenthood, a 2010 survey found that more than 1/3 of female voters has struggled to afford prescription birth control at some point in their lives, and as a result, use birth control inconsistently. More than 1/3 of all female voters. Let that sink in because that's a huge number. Hi, my name is Katrina Camacho, and today I'll be discussing with you all the economic and business impact on the invention of birth control in the United States. Without the invention of birth control in the United States, the country, as well as countries all around the world, could suffer overpopulation, along with unwanted pregnancies, resentment, and many other feelings. With the topic of birth control and other family planning methods being a large point of conversation these days, especially amongst government officials, it is important for us to take a look at the health aspects, but the economic and business aspects of birth control, good and bad. First, I'll speak briefly on the history of birth control in the United States and how it's progressed today. Second, I'll discuss the benefits of family planning with birth control. Third, I'll discuss how birth control is not made easily available to women and men both. Finally, I'll touch base on how birth control is not always cost-effective for many families. Okay, let's get started. First, let me give you a brief history of birth control in the United States. OurBodiesOurselves.org gives us a timeline on birth control dating back to around 3000 BC, with the start of condoms being made out of many animal parts, such as fish bladders, animal intestines, and even fine linens. By the late 1830s, condoms were being made out of rubber. Now, taking you to 1922, when a woman by the name of Margaret Sanger founded the American Birth Control League, which we now know as Planned Parenthood. In 1960, the first oral contraceptive was approved for use by the FDA in the United States. Today, there are many types of birth control that range from shots, condoms, pills, and even implants that can last for years throughout the body. The invention of birth control and its advances have created for a vast variety of choices to be made available to both women and men. However, just because we now have variety, that does not mean that there are not obstacles in obtaining birth control. Second, birth control is beneficial in more ways than one. The Guttmacher Institute states that 2/3 of U.S. women, being at 68%, at risk of unintended pregnancies, whose use contraceptives consistently and currently throughout the course of any year given for the amount of 5% of all unintended pregnancies. This statement sheds some light on just how many pregnancies have been prevented in the U.S. because of birth control, and thus can shed some light on keeping overpopulation down in the United States as well as other countries. Birth control can also help calm the effects of many medical conditions, such as anemia, endometriosis, and polycystic ovarian syndrome. Also, the funds that go towards birth control help aid in reducing the cost of education and immunization for families. The use of birth control has many benefits, more so than one would think. Yes, there are many benefits, but birth control is not easily acquired. This has become a big issue for many women. Next, birth control is not always made readily available and is a huge part of debates among people who need this measure of family planning. According to the National Women's Law Center, reports of pharmacies refusing to fill prescriptions for birth control or provide emergency contraceptives have surfaced in at least 25 states across the nation. That's half of our country, and even in the great state of Texas. This is alarming in that the decision is being taken away from women and sparks many other conflicts of interest and equality. Many businesses that sell birth control have also allowed for their employees to refuse to fill prescriptions for birth control for women based on many factors such as their own personal and religious beliefs. The government has also recently stopped funding to many Planned Parenthood offices and cut ties with many companies. There are many saddening factors like the ones I just stated in which birth control is not easily accessible to many people, which can lead to detrimental health effects on a woman. Lastly, birth control is not always cost-effective. Based on the information from a CycleBeads website, the average cost of birth control can reach up to $390 per year. That's extensive. Those that have insurance do have it easier in paying for birth control, but it can be costly with paying the associated co-pays going to the doctor to get those filled. It's also noted by the Guttmacher Institute that without subsidies, a woman must pay around $700 a year for a supply of pills, a substantial cost for anyone making low or steady incomes. Although birth control can be effective in preventing unwanted pregnancies, it's costing families a lot of money every year to obtain those different methods and can in turn have negative effects not only on families, but on the economy as well. Many people see birth control just as a means of preventing pregnancy, but it has effects on the economy and many businesses as well. This representation here gives a further detail into the average cost of birth control in the United States. Taking a look into birth control, I'd like for you to think more about what it just does for your body, but think about what it does for the country. With all of that being said, please remember that family planning is so much more than just the plan itself. It's the course you take and how that course will impact you on a larger scale. Thank you.